In this corner, from the mean streets of Milwaukee, it's Killer Miller Lite.
Miller time. Miller time.
Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And in this corner, from Houston by way of St. Louis, it's badass Bud Light.
Bud time.
Bud.
Bud time.
Wiser.
Bud time.
Bud. What's up?
And in this corner, from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, it's the KG Coors Light.
Course time.
Coors?
Course time.
Coors.
Course time.
Coors.
Put on your turtlenecks and gold chains. It's a triple threat light beer showdown right now on You Tried Dat. You Tried Dat. Light beer showdown. I'm Nick Novak with my pal Chad Hancock.
What's up?
Nick Geiger.
What's up?
Wow. Hopefully no one who listens to this podcast is under the age of 35.
Blast from the past there.
Get all these references.
And hopefully none of them actually think that I really think that commercial is funny.
Oh, we should have thrown an and twins. That would work too.
Was and Twins a Coors Light ad, or what was that for?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Before we get to the
And then Budweiser was the what's up.
right, before we get to the beer drinking, I ask you guys a quick question here. It's in the line at the grocery store, and you probably get this. You go through line. The cashier says, "How are you doing?" And your choices, you can say whatever. Do you say, "I'm good," end it, or do you say, "I'm good, how are you"? Which way do you normally go? Like, I know you don't actually care how the person is, and they've probably been asked that 100 times already. But do you ask how they are, or do you just take the old selfish route of, "I'm good, now leave me alone"?
Definitely just good, thanks. Those two are good, thanks, and then proceed to, I don't know, look at my phone or something. Good, thanks. I need to scroll through Instagram for the 500th time today rather than engage with another human.
I say good thanks, and when they follow up, I just hold my hand and stick it in their face and just continue to look at my phone. I do probably do the same thing. I'm like, oh, pretty good. Like, just keep it simple. I don't ask, I don't know, because again, I don't want to get into a conversation about it.
There's some guilt in me if I don't say, "I'm good, how are you?" Like, I feel like I'm supposed to return the "how are you" instead of it just being really clear that I don't care how they are, because the answer has to be shitty, because I've worked those jobs before and the answer was always shitty.
Well, also, they don't care about you either. Let's be clear. They're just being polite.
Wait, what?
You guys don't go to Trader Joe's, but like I think they're they're told to be like extra chatty at Trader Joe's. So even though I like that store, like when I'm waiting in the like waiting in the line, I'm always like very nervous coming up to it, like, because they're just, I'll be like buying dog treats. I'll be like, "Oh, what kind of dog do you have?" It's just like, mind your own fucking business,
Wow. Protective of your information.
We're buying condoms. We're like, "Oh, how big is your dick? How often are you going to have sex?"
You don't even want to give out what breed your dog is?
I just don't want to interact with another human. I don't see why that's so weird.
What would be the best way to go through line and just make it clear? Like, you can pull up your phone and just kind of be talking loudly, like pretend you're on the phone call with somebody, or you can come with headphones and just be like moving back and forth to music. And then when they're like, "How you doing?" just make a noise like, "I can't hear you. I got my headphones on."
The other strategy is you could just like duck down behind the other side of the cash register, so like you're just like on your hands and knees, like with your arms up, pushing the cart forward, and then they think it's like a phantom cart. There's not actually a person there, and then they won't talk to you. That works.
Yes, that's called a phantom cart when someone crouches behind
like,
it and pushes
"Whoa,
it.
another haunted cart. I guess I'll ring it up."
Oh. Good thing these cards are completely solid and I can't see right through the bars.
Oh, this ghost is buying a lot of dog treats and condoms.
This wallet is floating up near the register and sticking a credit card in. That's so strange.
Good.
Yeah, I have a lot of people now talking to me. Like I always sort of have a lot of people talking to me when I'm walking my dog, but now because I've been on paternity leave and I'm walking around the baby most of the time as well. You know, I try not to leave the baby home alone by herself too much. But so I'm out walking the baby and the dog, and then now it's like 5 times as much people, you know, stopping me because I'll just be pushing the baby in the stroller. Just the other day, I was at the coffee shop, that one where they think my name is Charlie, and like there was a guy in there, and he was just oozing hipster. You know, which there's a lot of those in San Francisco, but this guy was like top tier weapons grade hipster, and he just comes up to me and he said that he looked at the baby and then he looked at me and he goes, "How is it having such a precious gift?" And like, the fuck am I supposed to say to that? Like, pretty great, dude.
You're like, he's a pretty good dog.
The precious gift? What?
So what was your response? You didn't say fuck you. I know, obviously.
No, what I did was I ducked down behind the stroller and I was like, "She's the baby of a ghost."
You're just ghosting everything.
No, I think I was just like, "Oh, she's great. Like, she smiles a lot." And that was it. And then he was just like, "Well, enjoy it," and then like walked out of the coffee shop.
What's the most important event that you've been at and ghosted? Like, have you just been in like the receiving line or walking through the receiving line of a wedding with just your hand sticking up, and that's it? They can't see anything with your hand, or
There was that time when You Tried Dat won the podcasting awards, and just a ghost went up to accept the trophy. That was probably the top time.
Yeah, we shouldn't have sent you if we knew you were going to do that.
it was actually a ghost trophy. Was the thing there.
It was the whole ceremony was comprised solely of ghosts and ghost trophies. There's an empty room where nothing happened.
Yeah.
Geiger, you, I know, have ghosted several cashiers, and a lot of times they are buying beer. And how often, you're the biggest beer man of the three of us. How often are you beering?
I don't know how you found out that one of my nicknames is Big Beer Man, but it is now. I beer on the reg. I'd say I beer. Hey, bro, I beer all the damn time. You know what I'm saying, bro? I probably beer 4 or 5 times a week. I don't know. Like a lot more than a week. I've tried to stop drinking beer during the week. Obviously, tonight accepted. Spoiler alert, this is a weekday.
At 4 to 5 times a week, it sounds like you're not trying very hard. Because
no,
that sounds like you're actually trying only during the week and skipping the weekends.
No, I drink probably 3 to 5 beers on a weekend. That's what I'm saying.
I drink beer 4 to 5 times a week, but only on the weekend.
I drink about 21 beers, but only on Sunday night.
But you don't drink this type.
6 times a week, morning, noon, and night on Saturday and Sunday.
You don't drink this type of beer in general, right? You have a bit more sophisticated palate now.
I mean, yes, but I'm not above this kind of beer. There's some people that like you can't only drink craft beer or only will drink this like it's got to be wrung through the, cloth of a Belgian monk or something. Like I'll drink any fucking beer. And one of my favorite beers is Miller High Life, which is universally regarded as dog piss, but I just grew up like drinking it.
I'm pretty sure I've seen you drinking like one of these like Miller Lights or something during this podcast.
Yeah,
right?
No, I actually.
Or was it High Life?
So, well, I do like High Life. However, spoiler alert, I do kind of like Coors Light quite a bit. That's become my go-to, just like brainless, cheap. If I don't feel like spending a lot of money on beer or whatever, I just want something refreshing, I'll drink a Coors Light. So you have probably seen me drink Coors Lights during this podcast.
Yeah.
I have to fit in that 24 pack at the end of the week, so that's usually when we're recording. I I don't know. How about you guys? You guys don't. No, Chad, you didn't used to ever drink beer that I remember that much, but now you said you've been getting a little bit more into it, or no? Not into it,
Yeah,
but
for a long time, I was like pretty much exclusively like mixed drinks, or the only kind of drink that would like in college. I was a big Smirnoff Ice / Mike's Hard Lemonade guy, which is a little shameful to admit, but whatever. I don't give a shit. Come on, come fight me, bro. I'll hit you over the head with a Mike's Hard Lemonade bottle. But I still
does that make the situation better?
but so the only time I would drink these kind of like swill beers is at like a college party or whatever, when they were, they'd have a keg of like High Life or Natty Light or something like that. I got a little more into beer maybe 7-8 years ago, but even then it's still like it has to be not just filtered through like a Belgian monk's like cloth, but like also, has to be like many Belgian babies baptized in the beer before I'll drink it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like Hefeweizens basically, and that's pretty much it when it comes to beer. So I really, really hate, especially like dark beers like Guinness. I find it absolutely revolting.
I love dark beer. I really, really, it's some of my favorite beer is dark beer. My problem is I got this app called Untapped, in which you like check in all the beers you have, and you get badges for like different styles of beer, or drink, like checking in beer at different types of places, or like for the number.
It's just basically gamified alcohol.
Pretty much.
Right?
And like it gets at my competitive bent to where I'm like, I just want to get something checked in. I'll just drink this beer I don't even have any interest in, but I'll try it just so I can say I have it, which is good in that it's gotten me to open up and try a lot of different kinds I normally wouldn't have. And some I really, really like New England IPAs and stuff. But it also is bad in that I never find myself going back to those same beers I like, even though I know I like them because I'm trying new stuff all the time. Novak, what's your beer sitch?
I generally, I'll drink socially pretty much only. So, and then even then, it's whatever people have at their house. I'll have one of whatever. Like I'll go to your house, Geiger, and you'll just say you got the beer fridge downstairs. I'll just rifle through and pick something out that's not like I'm with Chad. I don't really like dark beer, so something that's light. And to me, it's all really the same. So if I'm out somewhere at a restaurant, like after a game or something, and I'm getting a beer, I will just get something cheap. And generally Coors Light is what I go to. Now, when I started drinking in college, when I came of age, it was Miller products, because I was in Milwaukee, and I felt like when you're in Milwaukee, you drink Miller products because it's everywhere, and you can get it cheap. Like we would get High Life cheap and stuff like that. So I am familiar enough with all of these three. I just don't care that much one way or another about beer. So, but it's become such a popular thing now, where like when our moms and dads were drinking long ago, there weren't all these craft breweries, and beer wasn't such like a culture as it was now. It was just a dad mowed the lawn, like came in and had an old style. Like that's kind of like what beer was.
Yeah, there was a period of time where I was going to San Diego every other weekend for a couple years, and there's a huge like craft beer community or whatever culture down in San Diego. So there's tons of them, like just really close to the city, where you can just like head out and go to the brewery and try all these. And so we would do that a lot on the weekends, just go to like some craft brewery, and I would try them, and I'd be like, this tastes exactly the same as like it's just all I taste is hops or whatever. Like they all I couldn't really tell the difference between like a lot of them. I guess I'm not a beer sommelier is what I'm trying to say.
They'll have big festivals, and we have friends who go to them that you pay a bunch of money to get into them, and then you'll buy bottles that are like $50-$60 for a single bottle of beer. And I'm not, nothing against them for doing that. That's what they want to do, but I would be such a waste of money for me, because I would drink it and say, it doesn't, you could have put anything in this and it would have tasted the same. So to me, I just can't taste that much of a difference between them.
Yeah, even I enjoy the differences and I enjoy the different styles, but that's too much for me. I know that festival you're talking about is Dark Lord Days in Indiana, and there's this one beer called Dark Lord, which gets very highly ranked and coveted. and you can only buy it at Dark Lord Days. And so you need a ticket to the festival to get in, and then you can only buy so many bottles. And so what people will do is they'll buy it, keep like a couple for themselves, and then sell the other one online. It's gone for like $150, $200 a bottle just because it's so hard to get. And I've had it. One of our friends that is really into it had it at one of our other friends who listens to the podcast housewarming party. And I liked it. Don't get me wrong. It was good, but it was nothing I would ever go out of my way to spend $200 for or something like that. Right. It was just, it's decent beer. I don't think there's any beer that's so good I'd spend anything more than like maybe $20. I've bought a $20 bottle on occasion just as a gift for somebody. Other than that, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I heard there was a new one at these festivals called Ghost Beer, and you just kind of held out your hand and mimed a bottle, and you drank it, but it was going for a hefty price.
Was that price like 300 ecto dollars?
Yes, it was 300.
Oh boy,
300 ecto dollars was the price.
Noted Ghost Slimer sells this beer.
Edit point. Edit point.
And hey guys, I heard there's this beer called Boo Ear that's sold by Ghosts.
Does it go for 300 ecto dollars? I did
You were
it again.
like cursing yourself as it was coming out. 300 ecto dollars? Oh shit! Why did I say that? So.
All right, which one are we trying first?
Let's start with the Bud Light. That's kind of, I feel like when you're a kid, you see beer, like Bud Light's kind of the name that you associate with a beer.
It's the most popular, best-selling one in America, right? Or Budweiser, or one of the two?
I believe Bud Light is the highest selling beer in the. I guess we could have done some research, but I didn't.
Smells awful.
Bud Light's the one I've drank the least by far of these three. Growing up in Milwaukee, I had a lot of the Miller Lite. Like I said, more recently I drank Coors, so I've had Bud Light for sure, but it's definitely one of the.
Now you guys are lucky because you have the bottles. I have the tall boys. So
The tall boys.
There's going to be, these are like I don't know, what is this, like a liter can or some shit? So there's going to be a lot of beer poured down my sink later tonight, I think.
I think you should, at the end of the podcast, just take it Stone Cold Steve Austin style, smash two of the cans, and then pour them over into your mouth simultaneously.
You guys ever shotgunned a beer?
Yes.
Like back in college?
At your house for Halloween.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. That was always something interesting to do.
Where did you get the tall boy? Where'd you get it, and how many ecto dollars did it cost you?
I got two of them at the grocery store. I was able to find Coors and Bud Light, but they did not have a Miller tall boys, so I had to go to the liquor store today, which was, I don't know, I felt a little weird because I went out for a walk with my daughter. I had her in the baby carrier sticking off my chest, and she's just looking around. And she gets a nice first-person perspective as her dad walks into this like seedy liquor store and picks out a tall boy of Miller Lite and a Reese's Fast Break. It's just like the saddest purchase ever.
Another lunch today. Another lunch.
DCFS is just waiting outside for you. And you're like, what took you so long?
Yeah, exactly. And the cash register was like, as he's bagging up the Miller Lite, he's like, "Enjoy this precious gift."
As a floating cart passed by him, he's
bagging at the beer as the Reese's Fast Break wrapper just gets whipped behind him into the garbage can when you're polishing off the last pieces of it. I've definitely gone into the liquor store with my daughter. It's fine. I'm no shame in it. In fact. Yeah. One time I went to the grocery store and Evie real loudly goes, "Are we here for daddy juice?" We shut the fuck up, but yes. You're why I drink. I just start berating her.
All right, so we tried the Bud Light. Let's go to the Miller Lite.
You guys drunk yet?
Oh,
yes.
Dude. I mean, I was drunk before the podcast started, though, so.
That's true. That's true. But you were drunk on ectoplasm, right?
Yeah.
Ecto Cooler and vodka. Is that what you're drinking?
Geiger, you're one of my friends I've most recently seen drunk. On your birthday a couple years ago.
I was hammered.
And where we rode next to each other in the van on the way home, and you were 10% conscious, just with your head down. And I'm like, all right, please don't throw up on me. And then we got to your house, you stepped outside and threw up in the bushes.
Yeah. And they're like, see you guys? Like, I had no idea you all watched me do that.
Right.
And then I went inside and made out with my wife. And I didn't. Yeah, that's the problem. When I get drunk, I will throw up, and I don't enjoy doing so. In fact, one of the listeners of this podcast, my sister, went down to visit her in college, made the mistake of letting her make me drinks, and also stumbled outside her apartment, threw up in the bushes, came back in and passed out. So bushes tend to be my throw-up zone, apparently. But I also recall throwing up all over a pair of pants that you borrowed when I went down to college. No,
I was like out of town or something, or I wasn't around. And you wore my pants out.
Yeah, you were.
And then
you were out of pants when you got back.
And then you came back. Right. I remember you were like, someone told me, like, I could throw up all of your pants. And I was like, fuck, that cost me $20 dollars.
I was also irritated because I was making out with a girl, I think. And then I went back to the bathroom, threw up, drunkenly came back out, and she was gone, which was a wise move because I was probably going to try to kiss her again. I have no judgment when I'm drunk.
I will say the Miller Lite significantly waterier tasting.
Yes.
I feel like than the Bud. The Bud has a little more flavor, for better or worse.
I mean, I'm not saying they taste really similar to me. I don't think if you poured them in different cups, I could tell.
Very similar, but there's a little more body to the Bud Light. It's a little more full flavored. I taste notes of horse piss instead of just notes of donkey piss.
This is coming from one of the member of the bodies, so I believe you.
It must be that Clydesdale urine that's mixed into the Bud Light.
That's always been one of my criticisms of Miller Lite, is that it just tastes like kind of dirty water. It's so watery. There's almost no flavor to it. Novak and I got these tiny little baby bottles. This has only got a number of ounces in it, 7 ounces. So I expect, Novak, you should pound this on camera.
Right I picked them up from Geiger's house today, and it was the manliest exchange we have because we're usually exchanging jelly beans and stuff like that. Now I was taking beer bottles from you.
You picked up precisely 3 beer bottles and left.
I am now double fisting 2 tall boys as I go back and forth trying to differentiate these things. They're actually, I will say, there's more of a difference than I expected.
Before I got them from you, Geiger, I was going to go to before you told me you got 6-packs, I was just going to go to the gas station like Chad and pick up all 3. And I was thinking of, speaking of talking to cashiers, what kind of explanation I was going to give the cashier for buying individual cans, one Bud Light, one Coors Light, and one Miller Light.
That's when you just make up some story about like how you have like a polyamorous situation at home and everybody just has different preferences. Something like that.
That's a believable story.
Gotta keep.
That's I bought 6. I bought 6 individual bottles of each one at the store, but I also bought a bunch of other beer too. So I was right.
You were like, I have a polyamorous relationship with 18 women.
Thankfully, they're divided a third into beer preferences.
You picked them for that reason.
Yeah.
You're like, I need another Coors woman.
Jed, did you go to the store and say, I'm looking for some tall boys? Is that what you told me?
I say that every day at every store. I walk to the gas station. Who's got the tall boys? I go to the library. Show me the tall boys. I always want the tall boys.
You go to Boys Town. Who's got the tall boys?
Let's.
Yeah.
You go to Tall Boys Town. Say, hey guys.
No, that's the one time I want short boys. Is when I go into Tall Boys Inc. or whatever it is. What am I even saying?
Are the Rockies blue on your bottle or
they're
can?
still blue. Yeah, I had them in the
fridge.
fridge.
They're supposed to be. If they're blue, that means it's cold. Is the gimmick?
No.
There's no other way for me to tell it's cold unless the mountain is blue.
I've never heated up a bottle to see if it wasn't going to be blue anymore. I guess.
I mean, the can is it's definitely cold, but they're not.
I think it's the bottles.
Maybe they don't do that on these 24-ounce tall boys.
Do you guys prefer beer out of a bottle or a can more? It definitely tastes a little different. To me,
I mean, it's probably better out of a bottle. I guess there's something about a can that's like
Yeah.
there's a time and a place for a can. But I guess I prefer the bottle.
I think most beverages better out of glass bottle. The order is glass bottle, can, plastic bottle, like in that order.
What do you like?
So you'd rather have a can of soda than a 20-ounce soda?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. Can of soda is way better than 20-ounce.
What do you like, Geiger?
I'm torn. I mean, as a Mountain Dew aficionado, I used to love the 20-ounce Mountain Dew over the can, but I'm with you. There's more. I think the carbonation holds better in a can, which makes it better. For beer, I'm bottle, can. I mean, draft beer is good too. I guess I might go bottle draft and then can. My dad used to have a tap in his apartment when I lived with him, so he offered it to me, but it's gigantic. But so I could have kegs of beer in my house, but I don't. It's probably
They have some guy at work on my floor. He brought in like his own custom kegerator that he had made, where he had taken like a mini fridge and he had like cut a hole in the top of it and like attached a tap to it, and then he would bring in like different kegs of beer. Like, you know, once one ran out, he would bring in like a new flavor, like put a mini keg in and keep it. And you could just go there anytime you want and
at
have some
work.
beer. Yes. Very problematic. I remember like one time I was sitting there, like because he had it in like sort of the main common area, and I was just sitting on the couch, like working on some project on my laptop, and there was a guy there that he kept going back to it, and he was definitely like very drunk, and it was like 12:30 in the afternoon or something, and then he ended up just like passing out on the couch there in the common area. And so then after that, they had to like put up a bunch of signs around it, like, please drink responsibly, you know, only do this after hours and stuff or whatever.
We have a beer cart at my work. So that we used to have a beer cart where they would load it up with beer and then walk it around the office on Thursday at 4:00 and you could grab one. Now they just have a beer garden they built. So it's like a beer fridge that they stock every week. And on Thursday at 4:00, you can drink a beer, or my buddies and I will drink a Manhattan at work at 4:00.
Jed, do you have a scale for our beers today?
Yeah, so we're gonna do something a little different. Instead of like sort of a custom weird 3-point scale that doesn't make any sense to anybody. What we're going to do today, Geiger mentioned it earlier, one of the most famous Coors Light commercials is the one where they talk about like all the things about football that they love, and then they say, and twins, and it would show, you know, like two hot women who were twins, I guess. Patriarchy. Anyways, so what we're going to do today is we're going to rank these beers on a scale of 1 to 10 twins. So each one's going to get a numerical score out of 1 to 10 twins.
Wait, so is 10 twins a score of 20?
Yup. That's right.
And 20.
As a father of twins now, a father of twin girls, there's like just something very upsetting about that, like going back. I'm like what's the appeal? I don't know. So
your one goal in life is to make sure that they don't grow up to star in a Coors commercial. Like when when the nostalgia inevitably brings that commercial back in like 20 years, just don't have it be your daughters.
I don't know. Can that commercial be around anymore today?
I mean, are they done? Are they selling sex in commercials? I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, they still have those, like, don't they still have those like GoDaddy ads that are like all racy and stuff a lot of times? So I mean, they could probably still do it.
It sounds dumb, but I rarely see commercials anymore, so I don't really know.
Yeah,
like other than during sports games.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, which is usually where you see most beer ads, but yeah. I think it's a bunch of fat guys like rubbing their bellies seductively just to make it they're evening anything out. It's a bunch of fat fatties being like, "Oh yeah, twins," and they're getting to the camera. But maybe
it just goes and twins, and it shows the Minnesota Twins taking the field.
All right, Big Beer Man.
Yes, it's very literal.
Big Beer Man, you're going to start us off with your ratings and thoughts.
All right. So I have to rank them on the twins. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Twin scale.
Twins. There we go.
Yes. How many twins do you give Bud Light?
So this went pretty much how I thought it would. And I feel bad because, as everyone knows, I'm a proud Wisconsinite. Grew up loving Miller products. Miller High Life is still the champagne of beers to me. But Miller Lite is the dog piss of beers to me. Miller Lite's bad. Miller Lite is Chad hit my actual note on it was going to be exactly what Chad said, is that it's just water. It's dirty water. It doesn't taste. There's a very slight flavor to it, and I'm not saying it's vastly worse than the others, but it just there's nothing to it. It's not. It's also generally the flattest of the beers. Like if you pour a Miller Lite right now, there's no carbonation in mine at all. And it's been open maybe 5 minutes. I bought this yesterday, so there's no body to it. There's no nothing to it. It's just flat, slightly flavored water that will get you drunk. So I am not a fan. I would give that one twan. I really do not like Miller Lite.
So is that a one individual twin or one set of twins?
Oh, I don't. That's what I mean.
No. The bottom rating is 1 twins.
Okay.
So it's actually 2.
Okay,
people.
2 people, 1 twins. This is like the Menendez brothers or something. I don't know. A terrible set of twins.
I don't even know if they're twins.
I don't know. I don't think they were. I'm trying to think of 2 bad twins players. Now I can't. So we'll just move on.
And then, I forgot to mention, if there's a tie between 2 beers, you have to break the tie by saying how many ecto-dollars you'd be willing to pay. No, edit that out. Edit point. Forget the ecto-dollars.
Ecto-dollars. How much? What's the ecto-dollar to U.S. dollar conversion rate?
1-to-1.
Okay, cool. You didn't have any improv for the ecto thing in the first place. I don't know why you thought you could do it off of that terrible monetary setup I gave you. All right. Bud Light is going to be in the middle of these beers for me, which I thought. Bud Light's not much better than Miller Lite to me. It's got actual carbonation, which is helpful. Like it tastes like there's something there. And it has a little flavor. It's not great. But it's still kind of got a bad aftertaste, which all these kind of do, to be honest. But it's kind of in the middle. I would give this. Now, okay, I want to be real quickly on this twans scale. So if I'm rating something highly, does that mean I love it as a beer or just in comparison to the others?
It's clear the guy who made the scale didn't even give it that much thought.
Yeah. What the fuck? Look, no, let me ask you a thing.
Well, look, I'm Mr. Beer here. I gotta be careful.
What the fuck do you think it means to give something 10 twins? It means that you really, really like all 10 of those twins.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be that
Actually,
hard.
now that he says that, I kind of get it. So, Geiger, you should be able to figure this out.
All right. That was worth it. Yeah, no, I'm glad you went through it. I came away with twans. So I will give this 4 twans. It's still not good. I would never order Bud Light out.
8 individuals.
But it's better than Miller Lite, which we can say. Don't make it based on twins if you want to count the individuals. All right. So that brings me to Coors Light. Coors Light to me is the best of the 3 by far. It's not really that close. Again, it's not fantastic beer. As a beer guy, I like a lot of other beers, hundreds of other beers I would drink before Coors Light. But if I don't, like I said, Coors Light is my go-to when I don't want to get fancy, when I don't want to have to make a choice, when I don't want to spend a lot of money. When it's cold, it's refreshing. It's got, I feel like it's a little sweeter than the other 2. Like it doesn't have nearly the bad aftertaste as the other 2 do, and it has like a little bit of a sweeter or like more consistent flavor. I feel like Miller Lite just tastes dirty. Bud Light has that still kind of that crappy aftertaste, and this doesn't. It's the cleanest of the 3 to me. And I do actually kind of enjoy a Coors Light when it's cold outside. So I'm actually going to give Coors Light, I'll give it 6 twans. So okay. It's 12 individuals. It's better than average. It's better than average. Jesus. It's better than average. But it's still not it's not a fantastic beer, but I like it more than average, and I certainly like it the most of all these. So nothing groundbreaking, but a good beer, a solid cheap light beer. And now I'm done. It's taking way too much time rating beer.
A 1 twans, a 4 twans, and a 6 twans from Geiger. Chad, what do you think?
Actually, you know what? real quickly, I'm downgrading Bud Light to 3
What
twins.
the fuck?
I really don't like it.
No one cares about
I'm
these
moving down
stupid
to 3
fucking
twins.
ratings. Just give them a number.
So
Fuck you.
you've subtracted 2 individuals from your Bud Light rating?
Yeah, it was 6 individuals. Or no, it was 8 individuals. Now it's 6 individuals. The fuck are you doing with the twins and the individuals? All right.
Great.
It's 3 sets of twins.
Chad, what do you think?
I mean, I think you broke down the Miller Lite really well. So the thing that actually surprised me the most here, I should say, of these 3 is I actually did not think going into this that there was really any difference between the 3. Like, if you handed one of them to me at a party and told me it was the other one, like, I would probably believe you. And these are all beers that I would tend to like avoid if at all possible. But tasting them all like sort of side to side like this, there is like actually like really a clear difference. And I do have some clear preferences here. So Miller Lite is the worst by far. It is so watery. The taste is very, very bad. I think it's insane to give this thing any higher than 1 twins. So it gets the bottom of the scale.
How many people is that, Chad?
2 individuals. Bud Light.
Gotcha.
Bud Light is not much better. It is a little thicker, but the flavor is still bad. So it only gets 1 extra set of twins for consistency. So total, it gets 2 twins for Bud Light. I'm just going to make people unsubscribe by the amount of time we've said twins in this podcast.
They stuck with us through much worse, I think.
For me, the clear winner, excuse me, is also Coors Light. Is also Coors Light for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still bad. It's still a bad beer. It's still not something I really want to drink, but it is noticeably better than the other 2. The flavor is better. Like you said, it doesn't have as bad of an aftertaste. I'm actually going to go all the way up to 4 twins.
That's all the way up?
Coors Light.
Quad twins. All the way up.
Yeah.
All the way up.
I think you guys nailed the order on the head. I was kind of expecting Bud Light to be the worst. I don't usually order light versions of either of those 2. And I actually prefer a standard MGD to a Budweiser. But with the light beer, you guys were right. The Miller Lite, I didn't want it to be that way because it was kind of what I grew up on long ago. The Miller Lite's just too watery. But I'm going to give it an extra bonus point of 2 twins, 4 individuals as my rating. The Bud Light is okay. It's slightly better, but not much better. So I'm going to give the Bud Light a 3 twins, 6 individuals. And the Coors Light.
Why did we do twins if we are just going to count the individual people? I come back to that again.
Shut the fuck up, Geiger.
Twins are their own people, Geiger. They're not one person.
No, they're identical. Chad, if you were at a party and someone handed you twins to hook up with instead of single, you wouldn't even know the difference, would you? Just like the Miller Lite.
Yeah. And whenever I meet a pair of twins, I say, wait, how many individuals is this? It's important to note.
Now, the Coors Light I enjoyed the most. It's probably the one that I actually order. Like when Geiger and I play softball once a week and go out, I generally get a Coors Light. And the other thing is, these things aren't that far apart. They're not that different than when we did RC, Pepsi, and Coke, where there's some preference to them. But if you handed me one versus another, it wouldn't make a huge deal. I mean, they're all just cheap light beer. But the Coors Light, I feel like, is a bit better. I'm going to give it a middle of the road 5 twins, 10 individuals. So the Coors Light is the clear winner of these 3. Kind of probably what we expected. Geiger, where can the listeners get a hold of us to talk about their beer preferences?
If you'd like to get a hold of us, especially if you are one of a set of twins or one individual who looks just like another individual or is born at the same time as another individual.
What should they do if they're one of tramplants?
Since when did Gallagher do the commercial for this?
The problem with the government is twins. Wait, real quickly.
And of course, triplets being 3 individuals.
Right.
Go ahead.
Real quickly, Chad. How would Diggum Frog talk some smack to a hot set of twins? Come
Why?
on. Dance, monkey, do it for me. I know Chester Cheetah would walk up to a hot set of dude twins and be like, hey, dudes, take down your collective pantses and show me your buttholes.
Right.
All right, anyway. I'm glad we waited for that. So, yeah, you can reach out to us with your beer preferences or anything else, or tell us to stop. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. At youtrydat@gmail.com, and on Twitter, hashtag #YouTriedDat. On Facebook, we have a You Tried Dat group. We are on SoundCloud, Instagram, YouTube, Stitcher. Anywhere you will find your podcast, you can find us. As though you really, really, really want to at this point, but you can still do it. We'll be here talking about twins.
And remember, this podcast is free. In other words, it costs you 0 ecto-dollars.
Really glad we kept coming back to that.
All the listeners are now going to be ghost listening to this
that?
podcast.
Just a pair of headphones floating past.
All right, so that'll do it for this round, and it's the Coors Light, the champion of the light beers. But we'll be back next time. We'll be trying out 3 brand new snacks.
Deuces.
Yep.